Elijah Carter stood silently in front of the massive glass building of Vaden Technologies, feeling the cool morning air brushing against his nerves. Today was not just any interview. It was the interview, the one that could change everything for him and his family. He checked his watch for the third time in 2 minutes. 9:47 a.m. He still had 13 minutes. Enough time to calm down, rehearse his opening line, and walk in with confidence. He took a deep breath, whispering to himself, "You've worked too hard to fail now." His mother had woken up extra early to make him breakfast and iron his shirt. His younger brother Daniel had shoved his only savings into Elijah's hand, just so he could afford transportation. Elijah felt the weight of every sacrifice sitting on his shoulders. This wasn't just a job, it was the lifeline his entire family needed. He tightened the knot of his tie and stepped toward the entrance, repeating his introduction. "Good morning, thank you for considering me for this position." His voice trembled slightly, but he pushed forward. Just then, a sharp scream tore through the air. "Help! Somebody please help!" Elijah stopped dead in his tracks. The sound came from the far corner of the parking area. He turned and saw a young girl, maybe 22, kneeling beside an older woman who was lying motionless on the ground. Panic radiated from the girl's trembling hands as she tried to support the woman's head. Elijah's heart thundered. He looked at the building entrance, then back at the scene. 12 minutes left. If he intervened, he risked being late. Too late. The girl cried out again, voice cracking with fear. "Please, she's not breathing right." Elijah didn't think twice. He sprinted toward them. "What happened?" he asked, dropping to his knees. I don't know," the girl stuttered, tears flooding her face. "She just collapsed. She's hot. She can't breathe properly. My phone won't call emergency services. It's okay, I'm here." Elijah spoke calmly, even though adrenaline surged through him. "Let me check her pulse." The woman's pulse was faint, her breathing rapid and weak. Elijah felt her forehead, burning hot. She needed immediate medical help. He pulled out his own phone and called emergency services, quickly explaining the situation. His voice remained steady, but inside, a clock was ticking louder and louder. "They're on the way," he assured the girl. She wiped her eyes, still trembling. "Thank you. I don't know what I would have done. Help me lay her flat," Elijah instructed gently. "Good. Now lift her head a little. Perfect." Minutes stretched endlessly. The girl clutched the woman's hand, whispering, "Please stay with me. Please." Elijah kept monitoring the woman's breathing, giving directions, trying to keep both of them steady. When the ambulance finally arrived, one of the paramedics rushed over, checked the woman, and gave Elijah a quick nod. "You kept her stable. Good work. You might have saved her life." Relief washed over Elijah, until he glanced at the ambulance's dashboard clock. 10:06 a.m. His interview had started 6 minutes ago. Everything inside him sank. I have to go," Elijah muttered. The girl looked up quickly. "Wait, your name? What's your name?" But Elijah didn't answer. He was already sprinting toward the building, lungs burning, suit rumpled, sweat pouring down his neck. He burst through the lobby doors. "I'm here, for the software engineer interview," he panted. "Elijah Carter." The receptionist typed his name, paused, then looked at him with soft regret. "I'm very sorry, sir. Your interview was at 10. The panel does not accept late candidates." Elijah felt a punch to his chest. "Please." Someone collapsed outside. She needed help. "I understand," she said, "but the rules are strict." He waited 30 minutes, hoping, praying, that someone from HR might reconsider. But when a junior representative finally stepped out, the result was the same. "Mr. Carter, I'm sorry. The panel has chosen other candidates. You're welcome to reapply next year." Next year. Those words stabbed deeper than anything else. Elijah nodded silently and walked toward the exit, each step heavier than the last. But he didn't know the truth, not yet. The girl he helped, the girl crying beside the unconscious woman, she wasn't just anyone. She was the CEO's daughter, and Elijah's life was about to collide with a storm he never saw coming. Elijah walked out of the building, feeling like the ground had collapsed under his feet. Every step felt heavier than the one before it. The crisp morning air no longer felt refreshing, it felt cold, almost mocking. He'd done the right thing, he knew that, but the price was cruel. Months of preparation, gone. A chance his family desperately needed, gone. And for what? A moment of human decency, a moment that had cost him his entire future. He reached the edge of the parking lot and leaned against a lamppost, trying to steady his heartbeat. He closed his eyes and ran a hand through his hair. His shirt was wrinkled, sweat-soaked, and clinging to him as if reminding him of the frantic sprint he had made. The building behind him, a symbol of hope moments ago, now felt like a wall that had shut him out forever. He didn't realize someone was approaching. Elijah. The voice was soft, timid, but unmistakable. He turned to see the girl from earlier standing a few feet away. Her eyes were still puffy from crying, and her hair was slightly messy from all the panic. She held her phone tightly, like she didn't want to lose sight of him again. "Elijah Carter, right?" she asked. He nodded, trying to force a small, polite smile. "Yeah. Is your aunt okay?" "They took her to the hospital," she replied. "The doctors said your quick reaction might have prevented something serious." She paused, looking guilty. "I saw you running into the building. You were late. Because of us, weren't you?" Elijah shrugged lightly. "It's all right. You needed help. But you missed your interview," she whispered. He didn't answer. The silence between them hung thick, filled with things she wanted to apologize for but couldn't. "My name is Alicia," she finally said. I didn't get to tell you earlier." Elijah nodded. "Glad your aunt is in good hands, Alicia." She hesitated again, biting her lip, then stepped closer. "What you did, most people wouldn't. You didn't know us. You didn't hesitate. You just helped. I don't know how to thank you." "You don't need to," he replied. "Anyone would have done the same." "No," she said firmly. "They wouldn't have." Elijah didn't argue. He didn't have the energy. Alicia watched his face, saw the disappointment he tried so hard to hide, and something inside her shifted. She felt responsible, not because Elijah blamed her, but because she knew she owed him something bigger than gratitude. "Elijah, can I ask something?" she said. He nodded. "What position were you interviewing for?" "Software engineer trainee," he replied softly. "It was my first real chance." Alicia's expression changed. Her eyebrows rose with a spark of recognition, like she knew something he didn't. But she didn't explain. Not yet. "Where do you live?" she asked next. "A few blocks away," he said. "I'll walk. Please, let me call a ride for you." "That's not necessary, I insist." Before he could protest, she was already tapping her phone. Elijah just stood there, unsure why she cared so much. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe she felt responsible, or maybe she was simply kind. A sleek black car rolled up seconds later. Definitely not your everyday ride. The driver stepped out and opened the back door for Elijah. He glanced at Alicia. "You really don't have to." "Please," she interrupted softly. "Let me do at least this much." He sighed and climbed in. But just before the car door closed, Alicia leaned in slightly. "Elijah, I'm going to see my father." There was something determined in her voice, something fierce. "And I'm going to tell him everything." Elijah frowned. "Why tell your father?" "You'll understand soon," she said. The door shut. The car pulled away, leaving Alicia standing in the parking lot, watching him disappear through the tinted window. Inside the car, Elijah stared out quietly, unable to shake off the strange look she'd had when he mentioned his interview position. Why would she tell her dad? Why did it matter? He tried not to think about it, but the thought clung to him. Back at home, his mother rushed to the door. "How'd it go? Did they like you?" Her eyes sparkled with hope he didn't know how to break. Elijah swallowed hard. "I didn't get the chance." His mother froze. "What do you mean?" "There was an emergency outside. A woman collapsed. I helped until the ambulance came." He looked down. "By the time I got in, my slot was gone." His mother's face softened, not with anger but heartbreak. She touched his cheek gently. "You did the right thing, my son. Right things sometimes hurt." He nodded, but the words didn't make the pain any easier. Meanwhile, back at Vaden Technologies, Alicia stepped out of the elevator onto the top floor. Employees moved aside instantly, some bowing slightly, others greeting her nervously. She didn't respond to anyone. She walked straight to the CEO's office. Inside, her father, the CEO of Vaden Technologies, looked up from his desk, surprised. "Alicia, you're not supposed to be here today." She stood tall, fire in her eyes. "Dad, we need to talk. Something happened today, and you're not going to like how your company handled it." Mr. Jonathan Vaden looked up from his paperwork, surprised to see his daughter standing in front of him with a face that carried a mixture of anger, urgency, and something deeper, disappointment. Alicia rarely looked this upset, and never at him. "Alicia," he said slowly, "what happened? You look distressed." She took a breath, trying to control the frustration bubbling inside her. "Dad, something serious happened this morning, and your company was involved." Mr. Vaden sat back in his chair, eyebrows raising slightly. "My company? What exactly are you talking about?" Alicia stepped closer. "A candidate came this morning. He was early, prepared, nervous, you know, the usual. His name was Elijah Carter." Mr. Vaden nodded, thinking. "The trainee interviews for the software division were today." "Yes, I remember scheduling them. He didn't make it inside," she said. "Why?" her father asked. "Because he was helping me," she said, her voice tightening. "Aunt Naira collapsed in the parking lot. Elijah was the only person who came running. He handled everything, checked her pulse, stabilized her, called the ambulance. If he weren't there—" She swallowed hard. "I don't know what would have happened to her." The CEO's expression changed instantly. His eyes sharpened. "Is she all right?" "She's stable," Alicia said. "But Dad, your interview panel refused to consider him because he was 6 minutes late. 6 minutes. And the reason he was late was because he saved someone's life." Mr. Vaden blinked, trying to process the information. He explained it to them. "Yes," she snapped, but they dismissed him, just like that. As if a human life meant nothing compared to punctuality. He leaned forward, elbows on the table. "Alicia, you know our policy. Interview panels follow protocol." "Protocol," she cut him off. "Dad, are you listening? A man lost his chance because he did something good, something heroic, and instead of rewarding him, your employees punished him for it." For a long moment, the office fell silent. Mr. Vaden sighed, rubbing his forehead. At first he seemed reluctant to admit fault, but Alicia's eyes, burning with truth, forced him to confront what had really happened. "Tell me everything," he said finally. Alicia recounted the entire event, the panic, the collapse, Elijah's quick reaction, the ambulance, and finally the moment she saw Elijah running, drenched in sweat, trying desperately to make it in time. "He didn't even wait for me to say thank you," she whispered. "He just ran, because he knew he was already losing the opportunity." Mr. Vaden was quiet as she finished. Then he stood abruptly and picked up his phone. "Get HR Director Melissa to my office. Now," he ordered. Alicia folded her arms. "This isn't just about penalizing someone, Dad. Elijah deserves more than an apology. He deserves his chance." "I know," he replied. "But before we do anything, I need the full picture." 15 minutes later, HR Director Melissa walked in nervously. "Sir, you asked for me?" "Yes," Mr. Vaden said, his voice cold but controlled. "I need an explanation regarding a candidate named Elijah Carter." Melissa straightened her suit. "Ah, yes. He arrived late to his interview. Our policy clearly states—" "I'm aware of the policy," he cut in. "I want to know if he informed the panel why he was late." "Yes, he did," Melissa admitted. "He mentioned that he helped someone who collapsed outside. And the panel decided that although his reason was admirable, rules could not be bent." Alicia glared. "Rules? A life was at risk." Melissa looked uncomfortable. "With respect, Miss Alicia, we cannot verify every personal story candidates give." "I was there," Alicia exclaimed, stepping forward. "I was the girl he helped. The woman who collapsed was my aunt. Do you understand what that means?" Melissa's face went pale. I had no idea." "That's the problem," Alicia said through clenched teeth. "No one even bothered to check." Mr. Vaden stood up. "Melissa, arrange an immediate meeting with the software panel and prepare Elijah Carter's file. I want it reviewed personally." "Right away, sir," she said, nearly stumbling as she left the office. When she was gone, Alicia turned to her father. Her tone softened slightly. "Dad, he didn't deserve what happened today." Mr. Vaden nodded slowly. "You're right, he didn't. And if he truly is the kind of person you describe, then I want him here." She raised a brow. "You're not just saying that because he helped me, are you?" "No," he replied. "I'm saying that because this company needs people with integrity. Skills can be taught, character cannot." Alicia finally exhaled, relieved. "What now?" she asked. "Now," her father said as he picked up his phone again, "we fix this, and we find Elijah Carter." Meanwhile, Elijah sat quietly in his small apartment living room. His brother Daniel sat beside him, trying to cheer him up with dumb jokes and ridiculous impressions, but nothing worked. Elijah forced a smile here and there, But the disappointment pressed on him like a weight he couldn't lift. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He hesitated, then answered. "Hello?" A voice spoke calmly, formally. "Is this Elijah Carter?" "Yes," he replied cautiously. "This is Jonathan Vaden, CEO of Vaden Technologies. I believe we need to talk." Elijah froze. Everything around him went silent. Elijah held the phone against his ear, frozen in place. The living room around him blurred as the words replayed in his mind. "This is Jonathan Vaden, CEO of Vaden Technologies." He wondered if he had misheard, or if this was some cruel prank. His heart thudded hard against his chest, louder with each passing second. "Are you still there, Elijah?" the CEO asked calmly. Yes, sir," Elijah finally stammered. "I'm here. I understand you had an unexpected morning," Mr. Vaden continued. "My daughter informed me about everything." Elijah felt heat crawl up his neck. "Sir, I'm sorry I was late. I know the panel follows strict—" "You have nothing to apologize for," Mr. Vaden interrupted firmly. "From what I've learned, you demonstrated exceptional character today. Most people would have walked away. You didn't." Elijah swallowed hard, unsure how to respond. "I would like you to come back," the CEO added. "Not for a re-interview, for a meeting with me. Tomorrow morning, 10 sharp. For a moment, Elijah forgot how to breathe. "A meeting with you?" "Yes. And Elijah, this time you won't be late." The call ended. Elijah stared at the phone, stunned. Daniel threw a cushion at him. "What did he say? You look like you saw a ghost." Elijah slowly turned to him. "The CEO, he wants to meet me." Daniel's jaw dropped. "Bro, what?" Elijah didn't sleep much that night. Not from fear this time, but from sheer disbelief. Hope, heavy and unfamiliar, settled inside him. The next morning, Elijah wore the same suit, but ironed again, neat, crisp and perfect. He reached the building early, long before the meeting time. Standing in the same parking lot where everything had changed, he felt a strange sense of déjà vu. This time, there was no panic, no screaming, just quiet determination. At 9:55 a.m., he was guided to the top floor, the executive level he'd only seen in company brochures. The doors opened, revealing a spacious hallway lined with awards, innovation plaques and framed photographs. At the end stood the CEO's office. The assistant opened the door. "Mr. Vaden is expecting you." Elijah stepped inside. The office was massive, floor-to-ceiling windows, a polished wooden desk, and shelves filled with thick binders. But the most striking thing wasn't the room. It was Alicia, sitting on the sofa beside her father. She stood up instantly, smiling warmly. "Elijah, I'm so glad you came." He nodded, still overwhelmed. "I thank you for everything you told him." Mr. Vaden rose from behind the desk and extended his hand. Elijah shook it, trying not to look as nervous as he felt. "Elijah," the CEO said, "I'll be direct. Yesterday revealed more about your character than any interview ever could. This company thrives on innovation, yes, but above all, it thrives on people we can trust, people with integrity." Elijah listened carefully, unsure where this was leading. "I reviewed your application, your academic background, your volunteer work," the CEO continued. "Your skill set is impressive, but your character, that's what we truly need." Elijah's heart fluttered. Mr. Vaden sat on the edge of his desk. "You helped someone you didn't know. You stayed calm under pressure. You acted with responsibility. That is exactly the kind of person I want here." A pause. Then, "I would like to offer you the software engineer trainee position, effective immediately." Elijah blinked, once, twice, then again. "Sir, are you serious?" he whispered. "Very," the CEO said with a smile. "If you're willing to accept." Elijah nodded so fast he nearly lost balance. "Yes, sir. Absolutely, yes." Alicia laughed softly at his reaction. "I told him you deserved it." Elijah felt his eyes sting with emotion. Everything he had lost yesterday, he had regained today, and more. But Mr. Vaden wasn't finished. "There's one more thing," he said. "Yesterday exposed a flaw in our hiring process. Rules are important, but so is humanity. I'm establishing a new protocol, emergency-based exceptions. No candidate should lose an opportunity for doing the right thing." Elijah stared at him in awe. "Sir, that means a lot. You inspired it," the CEO replied. Then he gestured to Alicia, "And my daughter insisted we do something else." Alicia stepped forward, holding a small envelope. "This is the reimbursement for the transportation you used yesterday, and a little extra." She smiled shyly. "A thank you From me and my aunt. Elijah shook his head immediately. No, Alicia, I don't want anything. Helping you wasn't— We know, she said softly. You didn't help us for a reward. That's exactly why you deserve it. Her father added, Take it, Elijah. It's the least we owe you. Reluctantly, Elijah accepted. And one more thing, Mr. Vaden said thoughtfully. I'd like you to join a special project team. You'll be mentored directly by our senior engineers. It's a fast-track program. If all goes well, you'll advance much sooner than the usual trainees. Elijah felt his knees weaken. Sir, I don't even know what to say. Say you'll work hard, the CEO replied. I will, Elijah promised, with everything I have. Alicia smiled, eyes sparkling. You earned this, Elijah. As Elijah left the office later, he walked through the building with a new sense of purpose. The same halls that had once felt out of reach were now open to him. He looked back toward the CEO's office one last time. Yesterday cost him everything. Today, doing the right thing gave it all back, multiplied. Elijah Carter had lost an opportunity, but gained a future he never imagined.